Hey everyone, happy Saturday. Today I'm going to be talking to you guys about the main differences between the quarter and semester systems. I think this is something that is probably on a lot of people's minds as we approach decision day in terms of your admissions to UC, because the majority of the UCs are on quarter system except Berkeley and Merced, which are on the semester system. But I want to talk to you guys a little bit about the fundamental differences between those two, as well as my personal thoughts towards the quarter system, because I did transition from semester system in my community college into quarter system, and it has been quite the adjustment. So let's jump right in. So the biggest difference between the quarter and the semester system would be the timing. So for the quarter system, you're looking at about 10 weeks of instruction with 1 week at the end for finals. And then for semester system, you're looking closer to like 15, 16 weeks, and that also includes finals. Quarter week also includes a 0 week, which is not technically a week of instruction. I don't really know how to describe it. You may have some classes like on the Thursday or Friday of that week, but you're not really learning anything. It's just kind of like a syllabus day, I guess you could say. And for quarter system, you are looking at the school year running from October to June, whereas semester system, in my experience, typically you're looking from like last week of August or midway through August until end of May. So the thing I think that a lot of people get confused about when it comes to quarter system is, quarter, you're thinking 4. That's not really the case. Yes, there are 4 quarters, but only 3 of them are mandatory. So only fall, winter, and spring quarters are actually quarters of mandatory instruction. So that's your typical school year, October through June. And then the 4th quarter, which is summer, is optional. It is shortened, so it's less than 10 weeks. I've seen anywhere from 6 to 8 weeks. But once again, you're not required to go to school in order to be considered a full-time student during that quarter. Semester system, you guys know the drill. There's fall semester and there's spring semester. In order to be considered full-time, you need to go through both of them. They do have those optional winter and summer sessions, which are shortened. I've taken those. I always took those, actually, when I was in community college. Winter is really quick. It's usually like 4 to 6 weeks because your winter break is not super long. And then summer is closer to like 10 weeks. Breaks on the quarter system are also a lot shorter than they are on the semester system. So winter and spring break, you have like maybe 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks, depending on when your finals were for winter. And then spring, that's typically like a week. But on the flip side, for summer, you do get almost like 3.5 months for quarter system. So you win some, you lose some. A lot of people wonder, and I definitely wondered this when I first started at UCLA, how is the workload in the quarter system? So on the quarter system, you are doing the exact same amount of work in the semester system. So you're probably thinking, how is that even possible? 16 weeks versus 10 weeks. It's really quick. It is lightning speed, like you're going. Let me just give you guys kind of like the basic layout of a semester system and a quarter system, like one term for each of those systems. So semester system, you start, you have your first week, whatever. Probably the first week you're not really doing much of anything. You may be going over the syllabus. You're doing like those stupid little icebreakers in class that everyone hates. Quarter system first week, you'll go over the syllabus. It is posted online, so some teachers are probably you can go read it online in your free time. First week of quarter system, you are going to be learning material for the class. If not the first day, definitely the second day. In my experience, most first day of class, you will actually be learning material, so come prepared for that. Second week, you're chilling, whatever, on semester system. Quarter system, pretty much the same thing, you're just continuing to learn more material. Third week is where the pace starts to pick up a little bit on the quarter system. So by 3rd/4th week, you may have a midterm, you may have a term paper due, you may have something that requires a little bit more time and effort than a typical homework assignment. So to give you guys an example, for my first quarter, which was fall quarter 2018, I took Ling 20, Introduction to Linguistic Analysis, and my first day of class was actually on, I believe, October 1st or something like that, whatever the first Monday of October was. And I had a midterm on Halloween day. So by the 31st, I was having a midterm. So it's very quick, unlike semester system where you may not have a midterm or you may not have a term paper or a project or something like that due till like week 8 or week 9. And typically what I see a lot in quarter system hasn't been my experience yet, but a lot of people that I know have had multiple midterms throughout the quarter. So you may have 1 week 3, you may have 1 week 5, you may have 1 week 7, and then week 11 you have the final. So it's a lot more fast paced. There is a lot more retrieval and testing to make sure you're actually retaining the information and understanding the information. Semester system is generally just a lot more laid back. You know, you have your midterm or whatever. You may have tests throughout the quarter that are, or you may have tests throughout the semester that aren't as intense as a midterm, but you know, they check your knowledge. You have your term papers, maybe you have like kind of a less serious term paper, and then you have the term paper that's worth like 30 or 40% of your grade. Then you have the final at the end of the semester. So that is kind of the main difference in terms of the pacing and the timing of the class. You are doing the same amount of work and you will definitely feel it. It is much quicker. It is immense stress and kind of pressure to get everything done on time and to do everything well. What I kind of felt like a lot was I didn't really have, especially in the first quarter, because I was taking really difficult classes as well, I didn't really have as much time to absorb the information as I did in semester system. I felt this a lot in my Ling 20 class, but also in my American Sign Language class. We're still kind of in this groove where we learn material, we have class Monday, Wednesday, and then the following Monday we have a test on that unit, and then the same situation, you know, continues on throughout the quarter. The other thing is that within the quarter system, you have a much smaller window of opportunity to drop classes before it's notated on your transcript with the W, and even just drop classes in general. Also changing your grade type from letter grade to pass, no pass. Typically you have to do those things within the first 2 weeks, which is really quick. So basically you need to figure out right away from 4 class periods whether you are going to A, stay in that class, or B, what type of grade you want to take for that class. So a lot of times you kind of just have to rely off the syllabus. I want to talk about homework. So obviously, you know you're going to have midterms, you know you're going to have papers, but what about homework? So this kind of depends on your class. I think this is kind of where you start to see the main differences between UC and CC, because in community college, I had a decent amount of homework. I would say I probably had a fair amount of homework. Maybe if not every week, at least every other week, and sometimes the assignments would be a little bit more demanding depending on the class. But here at UCLA, a lot of my teachers tend not to give out weekly homeworks. What they will do instead is give you 2 or 3 homework assignments throughout the quarter, and each of those are worth like 20% of your grade or something like that. So you have fewer homework assignments that are weighted more heavily. Once again, that depends on the class and it depends on the teacher. So in terms of class attendance, you know, in community college, a lot of people think it's okay if you miss class, like whatever, no big deal. And if you're on a semester system, I personally would not advise missing class in any circumstances unless you've like been in a car accident or there's like a family emergency or something. But, you know, it's not really that big of a deal maybe if you miss 1 or 2 classes. Not the end of the world, you know, you can, it's pretty evenly paced, so you can catch up really quickly. But on quarter system, it's not like that. So if you miss 1 class, you could miss a ton of material. So I have tried not to miss any classes, and this is really challenging, but also when you think about it, you're paying a lot more to go to a UC. So if you miss class, you're kind of just cheating yourself. A lot of teachers have built-in ways to make sure that you're not skipping class. So they will either put a quiz at the beginning of class or at some point throughout the class, you don't know what it is. I've had teachers do this, and it's not even for grade, it's just for credit, just to make sure that you were there to take the quiz. A lot of other teachers will utilize something called an eye clicker, and they will put up questions, just like multiple choice questions on the PowerPoint, and you answer them with your little eye clicker. It's just like a little device. You press A, B, C, D, or E, and then it records your answer, and that's their method of taking participation or attendance. So it's really important for you to actually go to class. Those are the basics of the quarter versus the semester system. It's quite a change, and now I want to talk to you guys a little bit about how I adjusted to that change, because I did come from a community college that was on a semester system, and I was on semester system in high school and all that, so I've been on semester system for a long time. For me, I really felt the difference of the quarter system once I started going to school, because everything was so much more fast-paced. And I was kind of concerned about the level of work, because I was like, there's no way that they can teach us the same amount of material in 10 weeks, right? But there is a way. And I think a lot of that comes from teachers relying on you to kind of teach yourself certain things. And a lot of it is making sure that you have kind of that willpower and that accountability that you will catch up on your reading. You will not fall behind. You will come to class and you will do the homework that you need to do, not even if it's just required, but also just to make sure that you're actually understanding the material. So there is a lot more that's at stake on the quarter system. You really need to make sure that you're on top of your game. My advice to you is, if you're going to UC and you're worried about the quarter system, it's natural. It's totally normal. It's something that I still kind of struggle with in some ways. Your first quarter, you probably don't want to bog yourself down with a bunch of units. There is a limit on the number of units you could take at UCLA for the College of Letters and Sciences. It is 19. I actually wanted to take 19, and my counselor told me don't take 19 units. I ended up taking 15, and wow, I don't know what I would have done if I had taken 19. 15 was a lot, especially the classes that I was taking were really challenging. Just adjusting not only to the timing and the workload, but also the rigor, because it's very different from community college. So I would just advise you to kind of take it slow and ease into it your first quarter if you can, and just kind of learn your limits and learn what works for you, what learning styles work for you, what study methods work for you, and just kind of, it's an opportunity to explore yourself and figure out what you need to be a good student. And I think that is kind of the art of going through UC, because a lot of my insecurities and a lot of what I felt like were my disadvantages and things that put me at a disadvantage, I realized weren't actually shortcomings of mine, but were just areas that I needed to improve on what I do, what I do in terms of studying and what I do in the classroom and how I take notes and things like that. So in a way, you are kind of relearning how to learn. It sounds kind of scary, but it's something that kind of happens naturally, and you will adjust to it once you get into the groove of the quarter system. I hope that takes care of your guys' questions about the quarter system, but if there's anything that I did not cover that you are left wondering about, go ahead and leave it in the comments down below. I will happily respond to those comments, because I know this is something that was a big concern of mine before I started going to UCLA, and I'm sure a lot of people are wondering the same thing. So like I said, leave a comment down below if you're still confused about anything, and I will respond to you. Please give the video a like if you enjoyed or benefited from the content, and if you haven't already, subscribe. I am constantly posting new content about transferring and community college and UC and UCLA and admissions and all that good stuff. So thank you all so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. I will see you next Saturday at 3 p.m. Bye!